Talk about no fancy lights. I mean, man, this is just raw and real. I am editing part 2 right now as I cut this piece into the front of it, just to say, listen, guys, I'm sharing part 2 because I promised I would. But this is such a, like, this chapter of my life is so far behind me. I have to say, you can't have anything but dreams when your eyes are closed. Like, it's impossible to see things real when your eyes are closed. So whatever relationships or things you enter into it with your eyes open. Don't let the feeling, emotion, or the excitement of something new take you out of seeing clearly the obstacles, the challenges, the benefits, the value in yourself, in the relationship, in the synergy, and everything with the other person, con tu pareja. So yeah, there's just, I'm listening to myself in this video and I'm like, bro, you're so foolish. I'm gonna roll a clip right now. I'll be quiet and just let this clip roll. This is from the first time we dated.
Hey, paparazzi. ¿Qué haces?
Tomar un video para mí.
Estoy nerviosa.
Porque eso lo pasa.
Una cámara, no, por favor, una cámara, no, soy famosa. Estoy loca.
Y hermosa, genial, con un corazón grande,
No, soy
con
ruda.
vibra muy chévere.
Soy mala.
No.
Sí, soy mala. Mira mi cara,
Increíble.
mira mi cara de mala.
Okay, so when you look at that, this is the first time we dated, and she fucked it all up after that. So like, why was I dumb enough for an apology, 2 words, and I'm sorry? Why did I give it more significance? Why did I allow it to be significant enough to reopen this chapter of stupidity for it to end the same way? But I don't know. I'm just so happy and I'm so grateful that I had the experience. One, hey, to share it with you guys. It's definitely something different. And then also because it's allowed me to appreciate my current situation, my current, dare I say relationship? I mean, it's a relationship regardless of what it evolves into, even if it's a friendship, friendships are relationships, right? Even though this is definitely more than a friendship. But she's gonna watch this video and I'm gonna feel like a fool. But yeah, so and can we just stop for a second and say I'm so grateful I got braces while I was here in Colombia, because my smile. In either case, watch the video, guys, enjoy. I'm definitely glad I went through the experience for all of the growth that it led to. And I hope that you find it entertaining at the least, or gives you some insights and perspectives into how you see your own value, how you judge your own relationships, and what it is that you choose for yourself. Let's jump into it. Back for part 2. I'm still sitting in the same place, but it's part 2 for you because the video was too long. It's like 45 minutes and I'm looking at the camera thinking, oh my goodness, no one wants to watch an hour-long video all over again. 45 minutes is definitely long enough. So she goes back to this job, webcam modeling. And in my mind still, I'm like, you should just be webcam modeling here at the apartment, because the whole reason you had started doing that at my apartment to begin with was because you made more money, because the studios rob these women. Let me just tell you. Whatever you guys are paying these models in tokens on Chatterbait and Cam Soda and all these different My Free Cams, all these platforms, here in the studios, if they're lucky, they get 50%. Meaning if you tip 10 tokens, they're only getting 5. So, and tokens don't add dollar to dollar. You guys know this. So, on average, a webcam model that makes 100% of their money basically makes about $5 for every 100 tokens tipped. So if you tip 100 tokens, the cam model, if they made 100% of it, would get $5. Okay? These webcam models in studios, her specifically, would get $2.50. Saying that out loud is like incredible to me. But she doesn't want to work in the apartment so she can get 100%. She wants to go back to the studio. So she returns to the studio. And when she returns to the studio, the first night of work, we meet up after. Because we're kind of like off and on. You know, we're like testing the waters. How are we going to be? We go see a movie, you know, whatever. So we decide we're gonna make it work and continue being together. And so she's coming over because we also decided she needed to go live where she's paying rent, because otherwise it made no sense. So she's just vibing weird when she comes over after work. And like, I'm used to it, but I didn't understand why. And throughout this period of time of us dating, I find out she does coke. And I'm like, she does coke. She's Colombian. But part of the time in her growing up, she worked in cocaine fields as a child. So like, she's been doing coke since she was a baby. Not a baby, but you know, 12, 11. And so I didn't know this. I'm learning it. And I'm learning that it's been an actual problem. And she's at work now as she's returned, drinking rum and doing coke. The whole shift. The whole 8 hours she's on camera. She's sniffing coke and drinking liquor. Sometimes with no food. Like, hadn't eaten at all. And I'm like, we're like fighting all the time about stupid shit. And I can't understand why we're fighting. But I'm sitting here now like understanding, because she's high all the time and drunk all the time. And when she's not high or drunk, she's trying to recover from that. And listen, I'm a nutritionist. Like, you do not put those things in your body that often and that frequently and think that you're resting. It's impossible to rest. The amount of stress you're putting on your heart, just like, so we're fighting constantly. And it's crazy because we had this type of relationship, man, that it felt like a dream. I'm not even gonna lie. It felt like an absolute dream. There was this one moment. I've experienced so much death in my life. Way too much death for a normal person, for anybody. And I just lost 2 friends back to back. And it started making me think about all the other friends I had lost. And I was just really dark. And I remember we were leaving the mall, we had just eaten, and I get in the car, and the Uber driver like pisses me off, and I snap at the Uber driver. And she's kind of like, what's going on? And then I'm quiet, I'm not talking to her. And we come into the apartment, I go outside on the balcony, and I just sit down. And I don't know, it's probably there for like 5 to 10 minutes, and I just start bawling. Like, I've got no words, I'm just fucking crying. And I'm saying this out loud and I'm thinking to myself, what would I do if I looked at myself doing this? I don't even know. But she comes up to me, she sits on my lap, she straddles my lap, and she says, I don't know what's wrong. She said, I don't know what's wrong, but it's okay for you to let it all out. And she grabs my hands, walks me to the bedroom, and then just like cuddles me up. That is the Maryland I know. It is probably the clearest form of love I've ever experienced in a relationship. Like that moment. My ex-wife loved me, but she was always way too intimidated to interrupt a mood. And I'm a Gemini, so I'm moody, okay? So like, I imagine in that situation, she'd keep her distance until she knew I could be approached. When the reality is, no one can approach me more easily than the woman in my life, always. So that happened, and I'm all like, God, I'm in love with this woman. And I am. And I'm reflecting on these things as we're going through these arguments, and I'm just like, we're arguing over nothing right now. And I know it's just because you're back in this shitty ass environment with this bad energy. But life continues. And I'm feeling more distance and more distance and more distance. And as there's more distance, there's more drugs, there's more alcohol, and more distance. And I'm trying to be there for her, to support her and let her know. But at the same time, I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, it's not necessary. You have other options and alternatives that are not this. And if your family that you call family could see this, if they really understood it, maybe they do, and they accept you taking on this stress and doing this job. Fuck, man, I hate them because this is horrible. There's more to that. I'm not going to go into it, but okay, 2.5. This is part 2.5. I talked too much and the battery died. So there's this distance happening. We're fighting over stupid stuff, and I'm realizing how different she is while she's working on coke and everything. And I ask her too, like, it's weird because whenever she'd come over after work, it's the same thing as like, I can't really read you. Sometimes, it's not even sometimes. Man, when she was working from my apartment and she'd come into the bedroom and we'd have a quickie and she'd go back to work, it felt great. It felt positive. It felt like uplifting almost. And now she'd come over after work and you just feel this darkness, and it's kind of like, I don't even know if you want to be touched right now because like how it's going to make you feel. And one of the things she told me I thought was like, I was like, damn, I never thought about that. She said, so like, these webcam models, it's masturbating on TV, on computers. They have these vibrators and these dummies and all these things, and these women are using all these vibrators all the time. And for me, I'm thinking, first off, how many times can you actually finish? And how desensitized are you to it? Now, we're not having any problems, but I'm thinking to myself, like, eventually, does this not like just make you feel numb? And so like, I hadn't even thought about this, man, because I guess because I'm ignorant. I'm just ignorant. But she told me that she's sore, like, she's dealing with these intense vibrations for 8 hours or however long the shift is, that she's working, and like, she's like, I'm constantly in pain. And it's one of those things that breaks my heart. I'm like, damn, I can imagine. I can absolutely imagine. You must be. And why have I not even thought about that? Because obviously, like, jeez, man. So like, I'm like understanding more and more why she has to use coke and be drunk to work. But I'm understanding less and less why she's doing it. And I don't know if that's the conflict for me in this and everything, but the amount of money I invested, time, love, patience, and everything in her for her to make this dream come true with this talent that she has. And I'm telling you, it's incredible. For me, it felt like, I'm like, you're just throwing this away. And, you know, one of the things she kept saying to me was like, you know, I had this plan to get out of this job for long. And I'm like, yeah, you've had this plan for as long as you've been in it, which is like 6 years. What are you talking about? Like, this plan is not working. If you have a plan that you've been in effect for 6 years, change the plan. It's not working. So, I mean, I didn't say that. That's not how I am. I didn't say that. But that's what I'm thinking. Like, your plan doesn't work. And it doesn't work because you keep going through these cycles. You don't make smart money decisions. And you're paying for people's responsibilities that aren't your responsibility. And then you're wondering why you're overly stressed and working in this job that's tearing you from the inside out. I feel like people look at these, all of it, man. I remember when Sasha Grey, what's the other woman's name? Mia Khalifa. These porn stars had these different interviews talking about how they wanted to be seen differently. And, you know, I have actually dated a porn star. She wasn't really a star though, but she was in porn. But in either case, why am I saying these things? One of the things I realized is that you don't actually look at what they're actually going through. Like, there's such a fantasy and disconnect in porn in general that, like, there's certain things that people just don't put in their mind. And, you know, I said earlier in part 1, everyone has demons. And for me, I think people are either being chased by or chasing their demons. And sometimes both. In either case, with all the understanding I have, my desire is to continue pushing forward. And her desire is to continue to run. But with my abandonment issues and her desire to leave, the two of us are not in a situation to be able to make that relationship work. She thinks it's easier for her to have a you know what's so funny to me as I'm saying this to you now? She told me it's easier. Like, life solo is easier. And I'm like, in some regards, it really is. Like, you don't have to think about other people, what they want to eat, and blah, blah, blah. So in some aspects, it absolutely is. But in other aspects, it's absolutely not. She gets really bad anxiety attacks. When she has them, it's like crippling. And especially in public. And I'm ashamed to say I had caused her to have one once in public. Here towards the end of our relationship. And I'll probably never forgive myself for that. Yes, I will. Who am I talking to? I will. I'm forgiving. But I really did feel bad that my conversation with her in that moment was intense enough to have her feel that way. So I've been in these situations with her where I've seen her take this pressure and what it does to her. And I'm just like, you're putting yourself in this grinder of a situation when the reality is you don't need to. If you would take a moment and just step back and look at the bigger picture of what you're actually doing and what the impact of it actually is on you. So most people can't see the forest for the trees, and this situation is no different. What was horrible for me is we had an agreement that she was going to pay with my percentage of all the things I had invested in this business. And what I started to realize and learn was that Marilyn was nothing like Marilyn when she's using drugs and drinking. Some of the things that I bought, she wanted to take without paying for. She decided she didn't want to have to pay for anything that I had already invested. And she thinks she can do everything on her own. So we parted ways. It was not amicable, like at all. She is currently blocked in every aspect of my life. But I can't even, like, you always want to say you wish everyone the best. And, what's the saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I'm like, shit, man. Shout out to Kendall. Kendall's the friend that I keep telling everybody about. She told me, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And I think about that shit all the time. And she showed me who she was when we first dated, the first go around. When she feels under pressure, it's always going to be an economical pressure first. And her responsibility is going to supersede common sense. She is going to take that pressure and she's going to run with it and do something that doesn't make sense. And she showed me that. I don't know why I didn't believe it, but I didn't. And so looking back at it now, I'm like, my encouragement for anyone that's dating is let your demons be known at the beginning. And I'm not saying you have to share every negative thing about yourself on a first date. That's not my point. But if you're intense, talk about the fact that you're an intense individual. I do. I don't have to have you feel my intensity the first night that we're on a date, but I do talk about the fact that I'm very intense. That's something that I make known. I do talk about my pet peeves. I do have OCD, just different things that transparently show what you're signing up for. And I wish more people would do that, because I would have moved differently if I would have known her drug problem was her drug problem. I don't judge it, man. Please understand that I'm not sitting here saying that I judge this woman for that at all. Because if I had experienced half of what she experienced growing up, I don't know. I don't even know where I'd be. So, I've told her I thought she's one of the strongest women I've ever met, and I believe that. I just think she's tired. And it's sad to see her be tired so close to realizing her dreams. And the problem with that is the problem with this culture, the problem with the culture of people that never feel like they have enough, is that they always feel like they're losing out on something. And they allow the pressures of things that are unimportant to dictate what decisions they make. When I say decisions that are unimportant, a roof over your head is important, and I get that. But I would rather be happy living in the street than wanting to take my life living in a house. And the reality is, I would rather that. I would rather live more simplistically than to live lavishly with the stress of trying to deal with the lavish lifestyle and keeping up with that. So you got to ask yourself, like, what is it worth? She had a situation with her son where she was under review, and one of the things her son said in the interview was, my mom sells her body for money. And she told me that, and I'm like, y'all think this kid doesn't feel, or like he doesn't know, but like, this world is small, and he's a very intelligent kid, man, like super intelligent. And for me, I think I was most upset by the misrepresentation of who she was because I was so accepting of who she was no matter what she was. And so I'm kind of pissed that the fallout of this and the stretching of my heart twice was just because you didn't clearly represent your problems, like, to begin with. Because if you would have, I definitely would have moved differently in so many different ways. Now, I will say this. It was months and not years that it took me to learn and understand and kind of figure these things out. And there are some memories that I will have with her that I will forever cherish. Absolutely. But I never want to speak to her again a day in my life. Absolutely never again. So there's that. But I'm not hateful towards her or anything like that. I think the key takeaway I want for everyone watching this video is, I don't care who you are, you should be able to figure out how to accept other people for who they are. Because I know on the surface, some of you watching this are probably like, bro, why would you date a webcam model? Like, that's not you. That's not on your level. Like, I don't give a shit what anybody does for a job. That's not who they are. I'm not a videographer. I'm sitting here sharing my life with you, but this isn't who I am. I'm an adventurer. I'm someone that makes up tomorrow when tomorrow gets here, because I've lived my life planned so far out for so long and still felt so lost that why not just enjoy today? And it's a struggle and a battle for me to constantly get more and more into that just enjoy today. But God, I'm trying to do it more and more, because you can plan forever and still things don't go the way you thought they would. So take a deep breath and enjoy what you're doing. I love this. I love being able to share these stories with you guys, but I don't want them to just be stories. I want you to understand that if I can look at a woman, if I could date a woman for years that never made more than $20,000 in a year and could share a penthouse apartment that cost $10,000 a month with them, shit, I can date a webcam model and not look at that as the thing that defines who she is. And listen, she's a popular webcam model, and for good reason. She is smoking hot. She is smoking hot. But shit is not everything you think it is. It's not all glamorous. You know, the orgasms may be real, but the pain behind them, you have no idea. And that's what I want you to take away. The ability to open your mind more to who people are and not to be defined by things that they may do. And to recognize that everything that may seem one way is very much different than what you may perceive it as. And you know, I've told a few of my friends that I talked to about the situation when it happened that, you know, I was kind of done with love. But I'm a hopeless romantic, and that's bullshit. So, you know, I'll let you know the next level of heartbreak as it happens. But for right now, we're gonna have some fun. So I'm gonna keep doing this new unfiltered. It's gonna change a little bit. I'm gonna kind of give you some different topics of conversation. I'm gonna share more of my dating experiences as I have, and create more dating experiences. And we're just gonna kind of talk and flow. I may have a beer every once in a while, which, by the way, this is my, I don't think there's sufficient light for you to see this, but it's Club Colombia Negra. And this beer is, oof, it's super smooth. It's absolutely my favorite beer here in Colombia. So we'll have a beer, I may smoke a little, and we'll just kind of talk about the experiences that I'm having, and hopefully you guys can glean some information. But it's going to be the entertainment section of the channel. So this will all be in a playlist. Watch through the playlist. I'm going to take you through everything. But webcam modeling, I've dated some other girls here that do some other things too. So we will talk about it. We will absolutely talk about it. Until next time, like, click the bell for notifications, subscribe. I guess you should subscribe first. Yeah, subscribe first. Click the bell for notifications so you don't miss new videos. And listen, share this one video with one person. Please. It's only one person. Because that helps support the channel. The more people that are viewing it, the more people that are here help me out. It allows me to make more great content. And it allows me to take more of these women out on dates. So help me out, okay? You guys can be my wingman. And I will share all of the juicy details. I was going to say gossip and details, and it came out like got tails. But I will share all of the juicy details with you right here. So stay tuned, stay healthy, stay safe. And remember, listen, time. It is the most valuable commodity we have. So live your life new. Every day is an opportunity to make the day exactly what you want it to be. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. And your tomorrow is only dictated by the actions you make and take today. Okay? Peace out.